Thank you. So Otovo is a marketplace for solar and battery installations. Our mission is to put solar panels on every roof and batteries into every home across Europe in the easiest and most affordable way for consumers. We're focused on the residential market, a market in which the biggest barrier to adopt solar is the decision-making process and the last mile close to the home. I think R&D is largely solved, manufacturing is largely solved. Now the battleground is next to people's homes. The way we address that is that we are a two-sided marketplace in which homeowners, consumers enter the otovo.de, otovo.no, or otovo.es web pages, and they will get answers to the questions relating to getting solar energy or batteries into their home on that web page. On the back end of that web page, we have about 700 installer companies that we have vetted from the north of Norway to the south of Spain, from the east of Poland to the west of Portugal. And these installers have spent some time to input what inventory they have, what the prices of their equipment, of their labor, of their driving costs, everything that goes into building a solar installation they've put in. And that means we have an X-ray vision on the cost structures of these installers, and the software will automatically select the best provider for exactly your home. And that means there could be a different installer coming to your house, to your neighbor's house. We sell solar panels. We've been doing that for 7 years. We started with battery storage a year and a half ago, and this autumn we're also starting with EV chargers and heat pumps. Consumers can buy their systems from Otovo directly, like you would from a regular installer, and we would charge a premium to the winning bid, but it's straightforward. The consumer interacts with us, and we have a matching agreement with the installer on the back end. Or the consumer can enter a 20-year subscription in which they pay just a monthly bill, and in that way get into profitability immediately without having to think about the payback times. And this is split roughly 60% direct and 40% subscription, and we see subscription growing both inside our company and in Europe more in general. Solar is winning, and solar is winning against other energy forms, and the reason for the increased deployment of solar, for the increased investments in solar, for the increased power output from solar, is that the business case is getting better. Here are some examples of where consumer electricity prices are headed from 2023 to 2024, and you can see it's on the uptick, both because in many markets we see wholesale prices coming up from the winter of last year, but also because grid investments, taxation, and the removal of crisis time energy subsidies are now making consumer power more expensive across Europe. Put that together with the fact that solar is now returning to its residential solar is now returning to its long-term declining trend. I think we can see a very promising 2024 ahead. And this graph I think is very interesting. It's the average prices that win bids on our platform in our largest markets between May 2020 and September this year. And what you see is, for some time we're on the regular declining path. That's what, solar gets cheaper by about 1% every month, and that's because there's improvements in manufacturing and panel yields. And it's also improved practices with increased efficiency in the installers. They're having more density of their demand, allowing them to be more efficient. And then the energy crisis comes. It's possible to charge more for equipment, to charge more for your labor, and the prices shoot into the air in 2022 before peaking around this time last year, both on the equipment side and on the labor side. And since then, we've seen a steep decline in many markets, as much as 40%, both on the equipment and on the installation labor side. And so I think the fears that we would run out of installers that were particularly pronounced in German-speaking Europe last year have been very overblown. I think solar will keep progressing, and we will have enough hands to do it, and the price of those hands will keep coming down. The cheapest places to install solar in Europe right now: Poland, Netherlands, Sweden. That's not a list of the cheapest labor you can find in Europe. It's the most efficient installers. Otovo is uniquely positioned to win in this European game because we have a differentiated and scalable business model. The fact that we're a marketplace allows us to be buoyant on top of markets in which the equipment prices are very fluctuating. We are quicker at adapting to falling prices than someone who owns their equipment, their cars, etc. Because the winning bidder sets the price on the platform, and an environment in which the prices come down is particularly beneficial to us. We have a proprietary software setup in which the installations from the point of sale until operating for 20 years is logged in our systems. The installers will scan the serial codes of the equipment, etc., so we know what is where and how the stuff was done. We don't think that you need to be in the warehouse controlling people every day, as long as the installer companies are incentivized to do what they're supposed to and to document it, provide proof of work all the time. That allows us to operate this guerrilla army of 700 installers across Europe with the same level or better quality than owned and operated teams. We also have a very flexible business model. About a quarter of our employees sit in Madrid, and they do permitting operations across Europe. Our marketing decisions are made in Madrid, and that allows us to shift the weight of our presence between markets. Solar is extremely volatile. You want to be where the party's at and not burn resources in markets that are slow. And this allows us to, for example, put more emphasis on Switzerland when it's a hot market here. And then if that should cool down, you can move the budget to Austria, and it's the same people working on the projects. And in that way, we have a regulatory hedge from the exposure to 13 European markets. I think we're well positioned to grow with lower risk than many of our competitors. Then let me turn to the subscription product. Subscriptions or leases or third-party ownership have been the fuel that has made the largest solar residential companies in the US. In Europe, this category makes up only about 1% of the sales of residential solar. But I think that will change, and in particularly more difficult times for consumers, this is a product that tends to grow. How does it work? Well, for the consumers, the benefit is there's no upfront cost. You can save money from day one. Service and maintenance is included, and you have flexibility to own the system at the end of the period or buy it out at a fair market price as you go. So you can see it gives flexibility, and you don't have to make this big 5, 10, 15, 20,000 euros commitment on day one. And you take away one of the biggest issues, the trust issue, in whether can I trust this equipment, can I trust these guys? Well, if they own it, they're on the hook for making this work also next year. And that's important. Particularly in Southern Europe, the trust problem is quite extensive. What's the business case like? Well, looking at the Spanish consumer who pays a 209 euro bill per month, if they get solar panels on their roof, their electricity bill will drop to 86. They will, of course, have to pay the subscription bill for solar. That's 78, allowing them to have 45 euros in savings, approximately 20% savings on their bill immediately. And that's kind of the benefit of getting the subscription. We've built up a subscription portfolio that goes into special purpose vehicles across Europe. That's growing at a pace of about 100 million kroner, or a little bit more per quarter. That's about 10 million euros. And it's made up of Scandinavian assets in the Scandinavian currencies and euro assets in euros. The Scandinavian assets, we entered an agreement with Swiss Life Asset Managers now in October of this year, selling the Norwegian and Swedish portfolio and creating an offtake agreement with them, where we have a continuous sale of assets every month. And we'll be looking to do similar things with the European assets in the year ahead to offload it from a balance sheet and get these assets to owners who have a lower cost of capital than we do. Looking forward for Otovo, we want to expand our share of a wallet in the European green tech for consumer space. The fact that we're present in all major markets in Europe allows us to be stepping on the accelerator, the places where solar, batteries, heat pumps, and EVs are expanding the fastest. We have a portfolio of all the 4 most important equipment types for greening your home. So you can make energy, save energy, store energy, and provide energy to your car. And we'll expand both channels and partnerships to be able to acquire customers at a cheapest possible price. And with that, thank you for your attention.